Recording in progress.
So today we are going to study about different structures of brain and the functions of every structure. So basically we have seen that all animals have brains, and not all animals, but there are exceptions, but animals have brains to coordinate a lot of activities like vision, hearing, muscle movements. If they are attacked in the wild, how would they react? Or to run, eat, sleep, for particularly everything there is a muscle coordination required. There is a for reading, eating, talking, for visual, sensory, auditory, everything you need a muscle movement, and all this coordination is done by the signaling sent by brain. So brain exactly tells you how you're supposed to, when you're supposed to talk, if somebody says something to you, what you're supposed to respond. So all these actions are controlled by brain. Okay, now let's study the different parts of the brain and how this control and coordination is handled by the brain. So basically brain, I'm just going to teach at a very simple and easy level. We will learn it at a very at a very baseline. We will build the foundation and then we will get into complexities of it. So brain is divided into, basically we are going to see three parts. One is cerebrum, then is the cerebellum, and then is the brain stem. And you also have the thalamus here, right? So this 3/4 of the brain volume is occupied by cerebrum. Then you have the cerebellum. Then over here you see this black color structure. I've used different colors. So that is the brain stem. And then you have the thalamus. Are we good till this point of time?
Recording in
So there are like some exceptional animals like the sea cucumber, or there are some aquatic organisms like the sea star. So there are a few such exceptions who don't have brain, but almost most of the animals have brains, and this is for coordinating the muscle movements. So we saw the different parts of the brain. So basically the 3/4 of the size of the brain is occupied by the large brain, that is cerebrum. Then you have a structure here which is thalamus. Then you have a small brain here which is the most important, it governs the most important function, that is cerebellum. And then you have a stem like portion. You know how trees, plants have stems. So this looks like a stem like portion, and this is known as the brain stem.
recording in progress.
Now let's see the different functions of these different parts of the brain. Okay, so let's start with this, this small brain, that is cerebellum. So what cerebellum does is, the main function of cerebellum is that that is, first is the memory. Memory is the main function of cerebellum, and the second one is body control. Okay, body and motion control. So how different parts of your body, when you're running, or when you're moving your hands, when you're doing physical exercises, how your body control and coordination should work. And your all memory, like you remember what you learn in your first grade or kindergarten, or you remember what did you say 2 days back. All this is, who are your friends, who is your uncle, aunt, who is your mom, dad. All this is like how to eat, sing, talk, your your studies, your singing, dancing, everything, all the steps. That is because of a memory. You remember because of the memory, and that is governed by the cerebellum. Now let us see the stem like structure. You know how trees have a stem, right? Like if you draw a tree, these are the branches and everything, and then these are the roots, and this is the stem of the tree. Similarly, this structure which has come out is also known as the brain stem. It is the stem of the brain. Now what is the function of the brain stem? It is involved in major functions like breathing, then circulation, and digestion. So how food is digested in your body, how once food passes from your mouth, it comes through the esophagus, from the from it goes all the way to your stomach. We learned that in the digestive process, how digestion takes place. Now all this digestion, how you inhale and exhale from your nostrils, your breathing, digestion, circulation, your blood flow, everything is governed by this brain stem. So that is the function of the brain stem. Okay, now let's see what is the function of this structure. You can see here thalamus. Now basically thalamus is, you can consider thalamus is a router. Okay, so what a router does is it sends the data, information. It's like sorts the information and sends it in different places. So whenever from different parts of the body the brain gets questions or request, brain has to react on that. Now thalamus helps to sort this data and send it to the different parts of the brain, and then when it gets information from the brain, it again sorts the responses and send out. So basically sending data, information, sorting the information is the main function of thalamus. Okay, now let's move to cerebrum. Cerebrum is the large part of the brain. Okay,
Recording in
so now can you see this, what this is? What is this thing over here? Okay, so now just your brain is capturing what I'm showing. Okay, this is one thing. Okay, now again I'm showing you this one. Okay, this is a marker. Okay, now I'm showing you a pot with twigs, small plant twig. Okay, and then I'm showing you this particular structure. Okay, a dog play toy. Okay, right?
recording in progress.
So this is one type of pot with plant twigs. Okay, then I'm showing you a dog toy. Okay, then I'm showing you a marker. Okay, and then I'm showing you a tortoise. Okay, now when I'm showing you all this, this is getting registered, all this toys or images, all this article, all this stuff I showed you, these images, the blood flow through your brain, and major nerve coordination takes place, so that you know that okay, this is a pot with plant twigs, then this is a particular dog toy, this is a marker, this is a tortoise. So all this gets registered in your brain, and blood flows, and there is a major nerve coordination that takes place. And this is when they initially did research to figure out that which part of the brain is registering all this information, they found out that there is a major nerve coordination and blood flow which is going through the cerebrum. And that's how they figured out that cerebrum is responsible for all this. Whenever you see any images, it stores in your brain. The memory storing is done by cerebellum, but the major blood flow and the nerve coordination is done by cerebrum, right? So if you whenever somebody has a memory loss, or somebody has a dementia, a Parkinson's or disease, Alzheimer's, for example, somebody has Parkinson's disease, so their hands shake. This is a brain disorder. Now why this happens? Because there is a loss of nerve cells, and these nerve cells are responsible for producing a chemical known as dopamine. We will learn in some other classes about this in detail, but these nerve cells are responsible for producing a chemical called dopamine. Because there is a loss of this nerve cells, the coordination and the nerve signaling is not proper, and so the people with Parkinson's, because of this loss of nerve cells, their coordination is not proper, and their hands shake, or body shake. So because of this loss of nerve cells. right? So cerebrum is mainly the piece. Now why I showed you this images, because when initially research analysis were done, they were figuring out how cerebrum involvement is, and they saw that a lot of blood flow and major nerve coordination takes place through this cerebrum. So this whole images is stored in your body, and you come to know, okay, this is tortoise, this is a hare, this is a dog. This is because of this coordination which is done by the cerebrum. So cerebrum decides what to do with the information which your eyes are seeing and sending it back to the brain, and how to send that information response out. So let's say if you have a running race, okay? So your brain has to tell your legs that run as fast as you can. When they say ready, steady, set, go, 1, 2, 3, set, go. How the kids know that they have to run now as fast as they can to win the race? That is because when your ear hears ready, steady, set, go, that go, the ear sends a signal to the brain. Now the signal is carried by a lot of neurons, nerve cells. Those are neurons that carry the signals from the ear to the brain. Now the brain understands, cerebrum understands that, hey, the people have to the kid has to run now, so they send a signal back with the neurons to your legs, and then the legs start running fast. Okay, so this major nerve signaling is done by cerebrum. So from different parts of your body, the information, what you see, what you hear, goes to the brain with questions, and then the brain with the help of neurons send all these responses to different parts of the body, because brain cannot tell leg directly that, hey, run. Brain has to send a signal, the response, and let the leg know to run, but that response needs to be sent by the nerve cell. Okay, so basically, your cerebrum decides what to do with the information which is coming from all different parts of the body, and how to send that information out. Okay, so your whatever you see, your vision with your eyes, your languages, whatever you talk, you hear, all this information is taken in, and you send the response out. So when you tell mommy that you want pasta, your mom prepares pasta. But how that happens? First of all, when you say with your mouth pasta, your mommy's ears hear that the kid wants pasta to eat. They like pasta. So then the ear sends a response to mommy's brain that, hey, you need to make pasta. Now the brain sends a response to her hands that, hey, make pasta, and that's how mommy makes pasta. So each and every action, whatever are the questions from different parts of the body, they go to the brain, and the brain simulate that, coordinate that, all the brain structure, majority the cerebrum, and all this response is sent back to the different parts of the body. Okay, so so your vision, language, all this response. So now cerebrum is, this whole big cerebrum is made into 4 types of lobes. Let's study what are the different regions of the cerebrum.
Recording in progress.
Now let's see, the big brain has 4 different regions, okay? The 4 different regions are frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal. So frontal is the region that makes future plans, that you want to study for your exam, you want to prepare for your dance competition, for an event, you have to go somewhere, you have to play somewhere, you have to make certain plans. So that plan, making of the plan is headed in the frontal region. It also controls a lot of your emotions. Whenever you cry or you're happy, you have certain kind of emotions. When you see your tasty food, you're very happy. You see pizza or pasta, so all the emotions are controlled by your frontal region. When you're playing, you're very happy. When you want to make plan, when you're doing tennis or something, everything is controlled by frontal lobe. Then the parietal region, parietal lobe is all sensory information which comes from different parts of the body, and the questions asked by different parts of the body, and the responses that needs to be sent to them, on telling your hands what to do, telling your legs what to do, telling your mouth how to speak. All this responses, all the sensory information is handled by parietal lobe. Occipital lobe is concerned with the vision. Okay, and then the temporal lobe is concerned with your sound, auditory, your sound and your speech. So there are four regions of cerebrum: frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal. Frontal is involved with making plans and controlling the emotions. Parietal is involved with all sensory information. That is all requests, which are questions which are sent by different parts of the body, and responses the brain has to send back. Then occipital deals with vision, and temporal deals with sound and speech. Whatever you hear, how once you hear from your ear, that messages goes to your brain, then brain has to respond. They have to talk, and that talking is done by your mouth. So all the sound and speech is handled by the temporal region.
Recording in progress.
Now let us revise this in a very simple way. Now this is your brain. This is your hands. These are your legs. I'm not great at drawing, but I'm just trying to explain in a very simple way. So from whenever your different parts of your body needs to send requests or questions to the brain, those are carried. Now the hands and legs cannot reach to brain, so somebody needs to take that information from hands, legs, or different muscles to the brain, different parts of your body to the brain, and that is done by sensory nerves. We learnt in one of the class sensory nerves, and I'll upload the video soon which explains how this functioning works. But in simple words, all the information or question from different parts of the body is taken to the brain, so brain can act and send the response or the answers back. And this from different parts of the body, this request or questions is taken by sensory nerves. Now, when brain sends out the answers or the response to the different parts of the body, how they are supposed to react, and that response is carried back from brain to different parts of the body by motor nerves. So sensory nerves carry the questions or the requests from different parts of the body to the brain, so brain can act and send the solution, and the solution or the response from brain to different parts of the body is carried by the motor nerves. So for example, I gave you an example of running race. Let's say take an example of you're in a competition singing. So you have to sing properly, right? Now for you to sing properly, when your eye sees that you're on the stage and now it is supposed to be, you're supposed to sing, eye sends that signal to brain. What brain does is brain has to tell your mouth to start singing, so brain will send signals via motor neurons to your mouth, and then mouth will start singing. This is how the whole entire coordination works.
Recording in.
Now let's revise everything again. And now there are more detailed parts like hypothalamus, and there are like a lot of different more internal structures, but we are just going to learn the basics first, and then we will go in more uh, you know classes, we will get into the details of it. But the main central line is that the brain has a cerebrum which occupies 3/4 of the space of the brain, which is a large brain. The small brain here, I've used different colors for understanding. So the small brain is cerebellum. Then you have a brain stem, okay, which where the brain merges into the spinal cord and different structures of the body. And then this is the thalamus. Okay, now there are more internal structure which we will learn into next our sessions, but let's quickly revise the central line what we studied: cerebrum, cerebellum, brainstem, and thalamus. Now cerebrum is divided into four regions, four lobes: frontal, parietal, occipital, temporal. Okay, now cerebrum, the major nerve coordination, like all the information which brain gets from different parts of the body and the responses which brain has to send back, that major coordination is done by cerebrum with the help of the neurons, which are the nerve cells which carry the information from different parts of the body to brain, and from brain the responses is carried again by the nerves. Once brain sends the response to the nerves, nerves carries the response from the brains to different parts of the body and tell them how they have to act in different situations. So cerebrum does the major nerve coordination. It has frontal, parietal, occipital, temporal. Frontal is dealing with how when you make some plans, which part of your brain makes plans, that is the frontal lobe. How you can control your emotions and everything. The parietal is something which deals with the sensory information. Occipital is something which deals with vision, and temporal is something which deals with sound and speech and talking. Okay, so this frontal is mainly it develops as you grow into kid into teenager. The frontal lobes develops more and more. Now the thing is that's the reason why kids make some take some impulsive decisions or do certain uh, abrupt plans. That is because as it develops and you get more towards more maturity, then that's during the teenage. So the more and more the frontal region develops, you make more and more kind of, you don't make impulsive plans. Okay, so that's the process. Like as you grow, your brain starts developing more. Sometimes it's my personal opinion that it makes more complicated. As a kid you take more better decisions. Sometimes as you grow up, your brain gets more and more complex and you may turn simple things into complicated versions. But that depends on person to person. But in all this, as you grow up, this brain starts developing, and more and more defined plans are made and everything. Now let's come to cerebellum. Cerebellum is something which deals with the body control, your motion, your muscles motion and everything, your memory, everything is controlled by cerebellum. Then comes your brain stem, your breathing, digestion and your circulation, everything is handled by the brain stem. And then is the thalamus, and thalamus is something like a router. How that sends the internet or data information. Similarly in your body, this sorts all the information which comes to brain from different parts of the body and then sends that information to different regions of the brain, so brain can take active action. So Nina, do you want to revise what we have already said?
Recording in progress.
So the the four parts of your brain are the cerebrum, cerebellum, the brainstem, and the thalamus. So let's get into detail now. So the cerebrum, which is this bigger part of the brain, and it mostly takes up your entire brain. It has the frontal, which is basically what your plans are. The parietal, which is like to alert you if there's danger, sensory. Occipital, which is telling your brain is telling your eyes what to do. And temporal, which is sound, which you most likely hear. Then we move on to cerebellum. That has memory and it has motions for your body, aka body control. Then the thalamus. It sorts information, and if let's say if you have like a show, you need to remember like your lines, then it stores that information.
So basically whatever information it gets from different parts of the body, that needs to be sorted and sent to different regions of the brain. So that sorting is done like a router by thalamus.
In the brain stem, it tells your breathing and digestion, or like anything that's basically for your stomach or eating. And
okay, so that's how
it helps you.
Yeah, that's how you get that's how your brain, even though it's small, it occupies small region of your body, it does the major functioning of telling your body what to do and what not. So I hope we learned the brain structure and different functions, and we will get into more details in the next class. Have a great day, everyone.